Now to the holiday travel season. It's set to be the busiest since the start of the pandemic 3 years ago. And we're joined now by the TSA Administrator, David Pekoske. Mr. Pekoske, thank you for joining us this morning. What should people expect?
We expect a busy travel season. Certainly, you see the checkpoint behind me, George, and it will be a whole lot busier a week from now. We expect it to be busier than last year and probably very close to pre-pandemic levels back in 2019.
You know, we've seen major staffing shortages in the commercial aviation industry, from the airlines to the FAA and the TSA. Are you going to have enough staff? Is the industry going to have enough staff in place to make this run smoothly?
Now, I can speak for TSA, and yes, we will have enough staff. And one of the things that we've been able to do, George, is we identify airports around the country that might be a little bit overstaffed, and then redeploy those officers to airports that might have a staffing shortage. And so we expect to have adequate staff for the full volume that we'll see over the next week or so.
I know you've been pushing Congress to pass legislation to give underpaid TSA agents a raise. Where does that stand?
Well, where that stands is it's in the president's budget. The House, when they marked the president's budget, agreed and put it in. The Senate did as well. Now it has to go to a conference committee. I would just emphasize how critically important this is. I mean, you can see the officers behind me. They have very, very difficult jobs. These are national security positions. And then if you look at the pay fairness between them and other federal employees, they're paid about 30% less. And so that creates a significant recruiting challenge for us and a significant retention challenge. And we really need to address this pay discrepancy and do it in 2023. If we don't, it's going to be increasingly hard for TSA to staff these checkpoints in a manner that we've done in the past.
I think all of us were shocked last week when we learned that a passenger got on a plane with 2 box cutters. How did that happen? How can you prevent it from happening again?
Yeah, we take our security mission incredibly seriously, George, as you can imagine. In a rare circumstance like we saw last Friday, it's really an all-hands-on-deck effort for us in TSA, from the local airport all the way up to headquarters. We worked very hard on Friday evening into Saturday to understand fully what happened. As a result, we have changed our training procedures a bit and changed our standard operating procedures a bit. And so I'm comfortable that we have closed the vulnerabilities that we saw out in Kentucky last Friday.
What advice do you have for passengers as we head into Thanksgiving week?
Best advice is to arrive a little bit earlier. Because your whole journey is going to take into account parking, for example, which in some airports is increasingly tight, and then you want to give yourself some time in the screening checkpoint, and certainly not be rushing to the gate. So I would say first, provide a little bit extra time, and secondly, think through the process steps you're going to have to go through when you come to the screening checkpoint. For example, the first thing that we're going to ask you for is for your identification. So have your driver's license or your passport out, and then just listen carefully to the officer, and they'll provide instructions as to what the next steps will be. If you're not a pre-check passenger, I would recommend that you take your liquids, your aerosols, and gels, and keep that at the top of your carry-on bag so you can take that out quickly. The whole idea here is to provide as much efficiency in the system, and we really need passengers' help in doing that. So just please think through it, and also just think through, if you have some time flexibility, our busiest days are going to be next Tuesday and Wednesday and into Thursday morning, and then the very busiest day for us every single year is the Sunday following Thanksgiving. And so if you have some schedule flexibility, schedule around those days or around the busiest times in airports. I mean, every airport has a rush hour, generally from 5 o'clock in the morning to about 7:30 in the morning, and then in the late afternoon going into the evening. If you have the schedule flexibility, I would just recommend that you travel outside those times. But if you can't, just know that it's going to take you a little bit longer.
Mr. Pekoske, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it.
What's your line, Robin? Pack your patience?
No, that's a lot of patience. That is my line. But those are some good recommendations right there. Yeah. All right. You have been listening all these years. All right. I like that. Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.